Yo, what is up guys? Welcome to the video. I hope your day has been going great. Mine has. Super exciting video today. We're talking all Overwatch League. We've missed some of the games this past week. There was so much drama to cover. We fell a little bit behind, but I also wanted to wait for the week to finish so we could go over the important games, because now that the season is kind of over for a lot of the teams, there are some useless games, but that doesn't mean there weren't some good ones. So we're going to cover those ones, the impact on the playoff race, who still has a chance. Philadelphia Fusion seems to be in trouble. Houston Outlaws chance, it's there, but it's not that great. We're going to get into all of that, guys. So if you're new around here, drop a like on this video, subscribe to my channel for daily Overwatch content. I upload every single day, guys. It's a grind. Also, I'm giving away 4 Overwatch League jerseys just to give back to the community. It's super easy to enter and it's free. Just click the gleam.io link down below. All you have to do is enter your email address, subscribe to a YouTube channel, like a video, and you're entered in. You can win a jersey of your choice. And now, guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. All right, so first, let's talk a little bit briefly about the London Spitfire. So it seems like they're sort of back, or at least they're getting their mojo back. They had 2 really close games this week. They went up against the Los Angeles Valiant on Thursday. They lost 2-1. But they did draw on Blizzard World, and let's remember, London Spitfire has been god-awful at Blizzard World throughout this tournament, so seeing them draw against a team like Los Angeles Valiant, who has performed fairly good on that map, pretty good, right? Then, where I was super impressed with the London Spitfire and actually thought they were going to take this set, they first held the Los Angeles Valiant on Horizon Lunar Colony. That was very surprising to me because, again, Horizon Lunar Colony, just like Blizzard World, has been London Spitfire's worst 2CP map. I think this stage alone, they've been first held on it like 3 times. So the fact that they were able to draw on Blizzard World and pick up a first hold on Horizon Lunar Colony, I thought London Spitfire was going to win one of the next 2 maps. But that wasn't the case. Los Angeles Valiant, they took them out on Lijiang Tower 2-0, and then they took them out on Dorado 3-0. So 2 really strong performances there from LA Valiant. And to be honest, LA Valiant is a very strong team. With their win last week over the New York Excelsior, and then a win this week over London Spitfire, and a 4-0 against the Houston Outlaws, they're looking like one of the favorites heading into the playoffs. Sure, people could make excuses saying, oh, New York, they weren't trying, they're sandbagging, blah, blah, blah. London Spitfire, they're not as good as they used to be, they're just trash, they threw the set as well. And then as for the Houston Outlaws, who are quietly having a decent stage, not the best, but they've still had some decent performances. I think LA Valiant is definitely proving themselves right now. And going into the playoffs, they have a first round bye, so they're already guaranteed top 4. All you have to do is win 1 set, and they're in the grand finals. So they're looking really strong, and they're going to have a lot to prove moving into the playoffs. I'm super excited to see them perform. Now let's move on to the second match of the London Spitfire, which was earlier today against the Los Angeles Gladiators. And once again, early in this set, surprisingly, the London Spitfire on Blizzard World and on Horizon Lunar Colony outplayed the Los Angeles Gladiators completely. I mean, seriously, how many times in just the history of Overwatch League have we seen the London Spitfire get first held on Horizon Lunar Colony and Blizzard World? Like, we've consistently seen them get destroyed on these 2 maps. Yet somehow they got a first hold on the LA Gladiators, who are, by the way, like 6-2 overall on Blizzard World in their history. So London Spitfire, really early on in this set, I was thinking, wow, they're finally back. It is go time. London Spitfire moving into the playoffs. They're ready to take on the New York Excelsior. But I spoke too soon. Somehow they got reverse swept. I can see them losing Oasis. I can see them losing Nepal. But Gibraltar, historically London Spitfire's best map in the league, they should have won this one. 100% they should have won this. Birdring was also playing out of his mind throughout the set. So was Profit. I don't know. They just got outplayed in these last 3 maps. Fisher was on a whole nother level, and he made sure in the interview to let them know, hey, you guys made a mistake. Are you regretting it now? That was pretty funny. I'll go ahead and play that clip real quick.
뭐 제가 할 수 있는 말은 하나예요. 저를 판 사람 후회하겠죠.
I only have one thing to say, London, are you guys regretting it?
Yeah, Fisher's a savage. But yeah, Los Angeles Gladiators, they got the reverse sweep on London Spitfire. And, I mean, it's not the worst week for London Spitfire. Yeah, they went down 0-2, but LA Gladiators and LA Valiant are definitely 2 top 5, top 4 teams. So the fact that London Spitfire challenged them to the very last map, I guess that's a good sign for them. They still have around a month to get ready for the playoffs, so hopefully they can get it together. And that's enough for the London Spitfire talk. I know we touched the LA Gladiators and LA Valiant here a little bit, but both of them, they're looking really strong. It's probably exciting to be a Los Angeles fan in the Overwatch League because you got 2 teams, both probably moving on to the playoffs. Oh, real quick to mention too, Los Angeles Gladiators did beat New York Excelsior this week. And again, obviously, New York Excelsior, they are sandbagging. We keep hearing it. Monte Cristo makes it known they're not trying their hardest. And, maybe they're not. But the fact is, they're still trying. It's not like they're purposely losing these games, guys. Maybe they're having a little bit of fun. But you got to remember, they still have playoff games coming up in a month. It's not like they're just absolutely not trying. Of course, they're still working on their mechanics. They're still making sure they have good teamwork. They're just trying not to expose future strategies. That's it. That's all that they're sandbagging. Los Angeles Gladiators still look like a great team against them. Obviously, New York, if they're at their best, they're going to beat the Gladiators. They're going to beat the Valiant. And it's possible that it's not close, but I think more than likely now, if the Valiant and the Gladiators go up against the New York Excelsior, we could have a pretty close match on our hands. These two teams have really improved throughout this season, and I think they're definitely at their peaks right now. And we start talking about it being just one match. All you have to do is beat them on 3 maps and you beat them. It's very possible, especially with a month plus in preparation, guys. You never know. Anything can happen. Okay, so now that we're done with the 2 Los Angeles teams, let's go ahead and move on and talk about the Houston Outlaws and the overall league standings. So earlier this week, the Houston Outlaws, they took on the Dallas Fuel. And by a lot of people's surprise, the Houston Outlaws were able to take out the Dallas Fuel. Going into this match, I wasn't too sure who was going to win. The Dallas Fuel, they looked like they were on the rise. Houston Outlaws, they were quietly having an okay stage, like I said earlier. Picking up some good matches, losing some bad ones. You really didn't know who had the edge in this one. And it clearly was the Houston Outlaws. And although the Dallas Fuel were able to pick up Hanamura and tie up the series 1-1, moving into Lijiang Tower and then eventually Dorado, Houston did look like the better team. And after that win, the Houston Outlaws, they put themselves in a pretty good position to make the overall Stage 4 playoffs. They were sitting overall at 5-2 this stage. Granted, they hadn't taken on some of the better teams in the league so far. Well, tonight in the very last match, as I mentioned earlier, the LA Valiant, they were able to 4-0 the Houston Outlaws. Houston Outlaws, they put up a fight. It's not like they got completely rolled here, but the Valiant, they clearly beat them. Like, 4-0, guys. Every single map went in their favor. It's really felt like the Houston Outlaws for a while now. If Linkser just doesn't have one of his great games or is just sort of getting bested by the other DPS players, the Houston Outlaws end up struggling. And usually this is due because they just don't have any other star power. Muma is consistently good. Colmat, he's pretty consistent and good as well. But Muma is no Fisher. He's not some serious playmaker that can help carry this team. He's going to consistently do his job, as well as Colmat. Then if you start talking about Jake, I mean, yeah, he's somewhat flexible and he can pick up heroes you need. But in no way, shape, or form has Jake ever been a guy who is going to carry this team. He looked like it for about the first week of this stage, but after that, it's kind of fell off. Now he's just that average DPS player that can flex onto a lot of things and give you an okay performance. So it really falls in Linkser's hands. And if he's getting outplayed or just not having the greatest game, it's really hard for the Houston Outlaws to pick up a win. And we really saw that today. The DPS from the LA Valiant, they looked great. And this was a really bad match for the Houston Outlaws to go down in, because after losing this, now they have a extremely tough road to make it, guys. We'll go over that, but real quick, we got to cover this last match, Seoul Dynasty and Philadelphia Fusion, because this one was extremely important too. These teams were practically fighting for a playoff spot here, because the loser of this match was going to have a really tough road moving forward, and the winner is going to have it much easier. And surprisingly, Seoul Dynasty came out here. They went up 2-0 in this set real fast. Yeah, Kings Row was somewhat close, but Seoul Dynasty, they look like the better team, as well as Hanamura, somewhat close, but Seoul Dynasty got that second point hold. They were clearly looking better than the Philadelphia Fusion, and all they needed was one map out of the next 3 to basically ensure that they would probably move on to the playoffs. And I'll tell you guys this right now. Carpe was not going to lose this match. Carpe popped off. Oh my gosh. You guys all watched this game. I don't even know what I can say to put it into perspective. Carpe was hitting everything. Lights out on that Widowmaker. We haven't seen a performance like that in a while. And again, he was not going to lose this match. He said, I'm making the playoffs. We've been in playoff position this whole entire season. I'm not going to let these Seoul Dynasty washed up Koreans come and beat me. I'm the dominant Korean. I don't know, man. Like, Seoul Dynasty, you guys had it in your hands. You were up 2-0. You guys have had like the most weird season. It's been so on and off. At times you looked great, especially early on. And then late into the season, you just, wow, you fell apart. You're running freaking Jaehong on Winston. But at the end of the day, you had this match in your hands. You were up 2-0. The old Lunatic High days, you guys were so damn clutch. but it just wasn't here. It isn't Lunatic High anymore, and that's something that I've started to realize lately. Like, this isn't that same team that won 2 Apex championships. It's not. Without Eska, honestly, and a lot of people say Eska was a problem to that team. I feel like he was the glue that helped them win everything. Like, looking back at it, he had great performances on Tracer in finals. He had great performances on Sombra in finals. He was a huge reason why they always came out clutch. And a lot of people don't realize he was a shot caller of that team. So, I don't know. We're talking about some really old stuff here, but Seoul Dynasty, wow. I mean, they needed this. So did Philadelphia Fusion. So, okay, let's go ahead and look at those overall standings now and show why this match was so important and why that LA Valiant and Houston Outlaws match was. Okay, so we're looking at the standings right now. New York Excelsior's in, LA Valiant's in, Boston Uprising's in, London Spitfire, it's possible they're not in, but they're like 99.99% in. Not only do they have a really good map differential, they're sitting at plus 31, but they have an easy schedule going up next week. Then looking at the LA Gladiators, they're in the similar situation to the London Spitfire. They're going up against the Shanghai Dragons next week. If they win that, they're 100% in. And let's be honest, Shanghai is not going to beat the LA Gladiators when a playoff spot is on the line. So LA Gladiators, London Spitfire, 99.99% in. Alright, and now we have the Philadelphia Fusion, Houston Outlaws, and Seoul Dynasty. Philadelphia Fusion obviously have the best advantage here. They're sitting at 23, 15, plus 13 on maps. Now, they might have the best advantage when it comes to Seoul Dynasty and Houston Outlaws, but they're possibly in trouble. They're not secured. And you might be thinking, oh, well, if Philadelphia Fusion has the same record as London and Los Angeles Gladiators, why are they in trouble? Well, look at their schedule next week, guys. Philadelphia Fusion is taking on the Houston Outlaws and the London Spitfire. These matches are huge because Houston Outlaws, they have a chance to creep above the Philadelphia Fusion if they win this. That first match between Philadelphia Fusion and Houston Outlaws will prove whether or not the Houston Outlaws can make it. So we'll talk about the Houston Outlaws first, who don't really have a chance in my opinion. I mean, it's possible. It's always possible, but it's going to be nearly impossible. They're taking on the Philadelphia Fusion, and if they beat Philadelphia Fusion, that would put them at 22-17, one match behind the Philadelphia Fusion. But then in their very last matchup, they have the New York Excelsior, and this is why I say it's going to be extremely tough for them. Not only will they have to beat Philly when Philly is also fighting for their spot, but they'll have to take out New York Excelsior. And sure, New York Excelsior might be sandbagging, and they might have just lost to both the LA teams, but I assure you they are still going to try to win this matchup. And even when New York Excelsior isn't trying at their fullest, they are still one of the best teams in the league. So Houston Outlaws is going to have a hard time beating both Philly and both New York. If they somehow manage to do it, then they will need Philadelphia Fusion to also lose that London Spitfire match, which is possible. The London Spitfire had a decent performance against the LA teams this week, and both LA teams are looking great right now, so it is possible they can beat Philly. So that is Houston's chances. Not the best. I'd give them like a 10% chance to qualify. Philadelphia Fusion, I'd say it's a 50-50 right now. And then looking at Seoul Dynasty, we just talked about them throwing last week and pretty much giving up their playoff hopes, but they still have a chance to make it too. If Philadelphia Fusion goes 0-2 and Seoul Dynasty go 2-0, they're going to make it over Philly. Seoul Dynasty is taking on the Dallas Fuel on Wednesday. That's a winnable match. Dallas Fuel, they're a decent team. Could go either way. I'd say this is a 50-50. And then Seoul Dynasty is taking on the Los Angeles Gladiators. If they can somehow win this one, they'll be 2-0. And then if Philly again loses to Houston and loses to London, then Seoul Dynasty can make it. But as I said, guys, it is very grim for Houston. And it's pretty grim for Seoul Dynasty. I'd say Seoul might have a little bit more of a chance than Houston, but it's still going to be extremely hard. I mean, it's kind of locked up. Philadelphia Fusion, if they win one game, or if Houston Outlaws and Seoul Dynasty both lose one game, Philly's in. We're going to see the Los Angeles Gladiators, Philadelphia Fusion, London Spitfire, Boston Uprising, LA Valiant, and New York Excelsior moving on to the playoffs, which is very exciting. These are all really good teams, and at certain points in the league, every single one of these teams has looked like the best team. Literally. New York Excelsior, obviously that's a shoe-in. London Spitfire, obviously. Los Angeles Gladiators, they've beaten New York and they've beaten London. Los Angeles Valiant, they've also beaten New York and they've also beat London. Boston Uprising, they had a 10-0 stage. Philadelphia Fusion, they had a miracle run to the playoffs and almost beat New York Excelsior in the finals. Every single one of these teams has had their moments, so it's going to be exciting, guys. My prediction is, as you probably already know, Houston Outlaws, Seoul Dynasty, they're not going to be able to do it. Philly will move on. Just know that it is possible, though. It isn't 100% set in stone. There is a decent chance that Seoul Dynasty could go 2-0. I wouldn't put them past them. I'd say they got maybe 30-40% chance to make it. But Houston Outlaws, though, guys, If you're a Houston fan, I'm sorry. I really don't think you guys are going to make it. It's just too hard, man. You won't be able to beat New York Excelsior. And if you do, I mean, you have to beat Philadelphia Fusion too. And I just don't see them going 2-0 this week. It won't happen. I see Seoul Dynasty doing it way more than them, even though they're still taking on LA Gladiators. So that's grim as well. I don't know. Seems like Philly has really locked it up. So yeah. And that's it for this video, guys. We had to catch up on this week. I know we've been talking a lot about drama lately, and I mean, I really like the drama. I'm not going to lie. It's funny. XQC and Monte Cristo's fight yesterday, that was probably one of the best videos in my opinion that I've covered when it comes to drama. Also, I do love covering the Overwatch League. I mean, I've done it almost every single day. I know there was like a 3-4 day hiatus where I didn't really cover much of it. I just felt a lot of these matches weren't worth talking about because a lot of these teams are just out. Like San Francisco Shock, yeah, Dallas Fuel is having an exciting stage, but honestly, I already covered so much about the Dallas Fuel this stage. There was literally a week where I had like 5 Dallas Fuel videos and was talking about how they're back. I also talked about the Houston Outlaws a ton. But hey, it is what it is, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you enjoyed the drama videos. Hopefully you enjoy my channel. And if you do and you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe. I upload daily Overwatch League content. Like the video, enter the giveaway. Thank you for watching again, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.